everybody, hello, welcome back to the channel where it's time for my Matchweek 28 predictions for the 2019-2020 Premier League season. Now, there are only 8 games this week because of the Carabao Cup Final, so Aston Villa against Sheffield United and Manchester City against Arsenal are both postponed and will be played at a later date because obviously of the Carabao Cup Final between Aston Villa and Manchester City. So that will be that. So Matchweek 27, let's have a quick look how I did. So I got one perfect score. It was the Chelsea-Tottenham game, and I said a 2-1 win to Chelsea. It was 2-1 to Chelsea. Bournemouth went for a 2-0 win to Burnley. It finished 3-0. Crystal Palace-Newcastle went for a goalless draw. It finished 1-0 to Crystal Palace. Sheffield United-Brighton, I went for a 2-0 win to Sheffield United. That finished 1-1. Southampton-Aston Villa went for a 2-1 win to Southampton. Finished 2-0. Leicester City against Manchester City went for a 2-1 win to Leicester. It finished 1-0 to Manchester City. Manchester United-Watford went for a 2-0 win to Manchester United. It finished 3-0 to Manchester United. Wolves against Norwich went for a 2-0 win to the Wolves. It finished 3-0 to Wolves. Arsenal-Everton went for a 2-1 win to Arsenal. That finished 3-2. And Liverpool-West Ham, I went for a 3-0 win to Liverpool. It finished 3-2 to Liverpool. So it was a bit of a mixed week, it has to be said. So we have a Friday night game this weekend. We have Norwich City against Leicester City. That'll be a very, very good game for sure. Looking forward to that one. And then we have a M23 derby between Brighton and Crystal Palace. And then the Sunday games, we have Everton against Manchester United. That'll be a very, very good game. Saturday night kick-off as well as Watford against Liverpool. And then obviously we have the Carabao Cup Final, because obviously Everton, Manchester United and Tottenham against Wolves, both kicking off at 2. But Everton, Manchester United is the game live on Sky Sports. So the first game to preview is Norwich City against Leicester City. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 1 win to Norwich, 1 draw and 3 wins to Leicester City. And the last result was a 2-1 win to Leicester City. Obviously, the game previous to that, though, Leicester City and Norwich City were involved in a 1-1 draw at the King Power Stadium. Norwich City coming off the back of a 3-0 defeat to Wolves, and I think it's a matter of when they're relegated, not if. It's looking very, very bleak for them, I'm afraid to say. 8 points adrift from safety. It's not looking good for Norwich City, and unfortunately, I don't think it's going to continue any more better for them either. I fancy Leicester City to win this one. Leicester City coming off the back of a 1-0 defeat to Manchester City, but they'll be feeling a wee bit hard done by, because obviously they were given Manchester City were given a penalty for a handball by Dennis Pratt. Now that is a penalty. But if that's a penalty, then the Kevin De Bruyne handball, where he's trying to protect his face, that's a handball. So Leicester City should have had a penalty there. But to their credit, Leicester City actually played very, very well in the game. Really unlucky to lose 1-0 in the end, and probably deserved something from the game as well. So going away to Norwich, obviously James Maddison is returning to Carrow Road for the first time since joining Leicester City. So Looking forward to this game. Obviously a Friday night game, live on Sky Sports, 8 o'clock kickoff. Looking forward to it. And so how do I see this one going? I can only really see Leicester winning this one. I think Leicester will go away to Norwich and give them a good game. And the Norwich always give you good games at Carrow Road, especially the last game when they played against Liverpool. That was a 1-0 defeat there. So they do give you good games, but I just have the feeling that Jamie Vardy is due a goal, I think. And I fancy him to score against Norwich. I wouldn't be too surprised if Maddison scored on his return either. But I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Leicester City in the game. And now we have the 12:30 game on Saturday. It is the M23 derby, which is Brighton against Crystal Palace. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 2 wins to Brighton, 1 win to Palace and 2 draws. The last result was a 3-1 win to Brighton. Brighton getting a very valuable 1-1 draw away at Sheffield United. Neil Mopey, again, how many goals has he scored this season? He's seems to be the catalyst for most of their goals, and he's been a very good signing from Brentford. 20 million he cost from Brentford, but he's been very, very good as well. It was a valuable point because, Brighton, they are trying to pull away from that relegation zone. And, with points mean prizes, as I say. And, Brighton are doing okay. It's a very good 1-1 draw because I think everyone probably expected Sheffield United to win that game. But for them to come away with a point was very, very good. And they've got a good, decent record against Crystal Palace in the derby. So it'll be very, very interesting indeed. Crystal Palace, they're coming off the back of a 1-0 win over Newcastle United. Wasn't the prettiest of games, but a moment of class from Patrick Van Aanholt. Right into the top corner, pass to Bravka. Fantastic free kick from him. And that's one thing you have to say. It was a very, very good free kick from Mark Van Aanholt. And it was a good win for Crystal Palace because obviously they didn't have a win in 7 before going into that game. And it was a very, very good win for Palace. So for this game, I'm going to go for a home win in this game. I do think that the Seagulls will beat the Eagles. And I think Brighton will win the derby by 2-1. And it'll be a very close game, but I can see goals in this one. And I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Brighton in the derby. Brighton have actually got a very good record against Crystal Palace. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to the Seagulls here. Bournemouth against Chelsea. Now, this is very interesting. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 3 wins to Bournemouth and 2 wins to Chelsea. And the last result was a 4-0 win to Bournemouth at the Vitality. And obviously, Bournemouth won 1-0 at Chelsea earlier this season. Bournemouth, has to be said that they are wondering how on earth they have not gone away with anything against Burnley. Obviously, VAR was at the centre of this game. It was just ridiculous. Bournemouth conceded a penalty. Obviously, Adam Smith's arm. They did score as well. Philip Billing, adjudged to have handled as well, came off his shoulder. It's just ridiculous. So I think they're a wee bit hard done by to come away with a 3-0 defeat to Burnley. So they'll want to bounce back in front of their home fans. But they're coming up against the Chelsea side, who obviously won against Tottenham 2-1. Very, very good. But were then beaten 3-0 last night by Bayern Munich, and it wasn't pretty as well. A footballing lesson, I think Frank Lampard was said after the game. But you know what, Chelsea, it's a very good win against Spurs because you're coming up against a very good Spurs side, and it'd be very interesting to see how well they can do here. But yeah, they'll want to definitely erase the memory of last year's game because Chelsea were so poor in the game against Bournemouth, and Bournemouth absolutely demolished them by 4-0. So, interesting stat here. There has never been a draw between Chelsea and Bournemouth, and I think that's going to continue. So I'm going to go for an away win. I think Chelsea will win this one because obviously Manchester United are really putting the pressure on them, I should say. And I think Chelsea will win this one. Man United fans will definitely want Chelsea to drop points, but I just don't see it in this one. Bournemouth 1, Chelsea 2. I'm going for a 2-1 win to Chelsea in this game. So obviously the next game would be Aston Villa Sheffield United, but that's obviously postponed due to the Carabao Cup Final. And interestingly enough, the last 5 between the sides were 3 wins to Villa, 1 win to Sheffield United, and 1 draw. And the last result was a 3-0 win, but that came back in 2007. So obviously that game will not be played at the weekend. So we move on to the next one. It's just Newcastle United against Burnley. A really, really hard one to predict, this one. And the last 5 between the sides have resulted in 2 wins to Newcastle, 2 wins to Burnley, and 1 draw. The last result was a 2-0 win to Newcastle. Newcastle United coming away with a 1-0 defeat to Crystal Palace. What can we say? It was a very, very poor game of football. Lazaro, is that how you say it? Lazaro sent off for what could be described as a rugby tackle. It was a shocking tackle. So he obviously had to go last man, goal scoring opportunity. So, a rugby tackle, it was a really poor tackle as well. So they'll be coming in back in front of their home fans. Injury news from Newcastle is that most of their players that are injured are slowly coming back into training. So that's another thing you can say for Newcastle. Is very, very good for them. But they're coming up against a really rampant Burnley side who have really, really impressed in the last few weeks. 3-0 win against Bournemouth. Very, very good performance from them. And, Burnley are really difficult to play against. And I've just got a feeling that Newcastle United and Burnley will cancel each other out. I'm going to go for a score draw in this game. I just think it'll be a very, very close game between the sides. Newcastle United 1, Burnley 1 for this game. Just got a feeling it'll be a 1-0 win for Burnley, and it'll be interesting to see for that one. But I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in the game. Now, West Ham against Southampton. And the last 5 between the sides have resulted in 4 wins to West Ham and 1 win to Southampton. The last result was a 3-0 win to West Ham. And obviously West Ham beat Southampton by 2-1 at St Mary's earlier this season. All I can say with West Ham, I'm going to give you a wee bit of credit here because they were absolutely superb against Liverpool. Thoroughly deserved to get something out of the game. Could have been 3 points, it could have been 1. They were excellent. The way they sat up and really, really pressurised Liverpool, and especially in the set pieces as well, they were excellent. So they'll hopefully build on from this now knowing that obviously Aston Villa are not playing, and they can put a bit of pressure on them. But they are coming up against a really impressive Southampton, who another 2-0 win against Aston Villa. Very, very good for Southampton, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see how well they do here, because the London Stadium has been very kind to Southampton recently. I think they've won 2 out of the last 3. 2 out of the last 4, I should say. So it'll be very, very interesting for this game. And I'm going to go... I've got a feeling that West Ham, you just cannot count on them. You just cannot count on them getting a result. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Southampton here. I do think Southampton will win this one by 2-1. Now we've got the Saturday night game. Is Watford against Liverpool. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 1 draw and 4 wins to Liverpool, and the last result was a 3-0 win to Liverpool in the last meeting at Vicarage Road. But obviously Liverpool won 2-0 against Nigel Pearson's Watford earlier in the season as well. Watford, they're coming off the back of a 3-0 defeat to Manchester United. It's one of those games you could just say, just sweep away. They did play well. They played very well the first 10 minutes, and then Manchester United came into the game. Obviously, they had the goal ruled out as well for VAR. So, that's another thing you can say. But Watford are a decent side under Nigel Pearson. This will not be an easy game for Liverpool. Make no mistakes about it. They'll be up for this, Watford. They will definitely be up for this. Obviously, after coming back of a 3-0 defeat to Manchester United. So, Vicarage Road, going to be a very, very interesting game, and I'm looking forward to this game because Liverpool, coming on the back of a 3-2 win against West Ham, definitely need to defend a lot better than they did. Set pieces gave them a real problem against West Ham, but obviously Salah, Mane, and obviously Gini Van Alden, good to see them scoring. But you do see Liverpool missing Jordan Henderson's intensity in that midfield. Wasn't a very good game for Naby Keita. So will he be in the firing line? I think you probably see Oxlade-Chamberlain coming into this game as well. But you can only really back Liverpool in this game. I think Liverpool will continue to win. Obviously, Manchester City not playing, Liverpool can extend the lead to 25 points. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to the runaway league leaders Liverpool in this game. I just got a feeling Liverpool will want to definitely improve from that game. I do think they will concede because Watford are good at scoring goals at this moment in time. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Liverpool in the game. Now we move on to the Sunday games, and obviously we have 2 Sunday games this week. We have Everton against Manchester United. Two improving sides, it has to be said. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 1 win to Everton, 1 draw, and 3 wins to Manchester United. The last result was a 4-0 win to Everton. Obviously there was a 1-1 draw between the sides earlier this season as well. Everton will be going away from the Emirates thinking, how on earth did we not get anything in that game? Because they were absolutely terrific in that game. It was a really good game of football, actually. Arsenal played very, very well, but Everton, to their credit, they made Bernd Leno have a good couple of saves in that game, and obviously Dominic Calvert-Lewin is on absolute fire since Ancelotti joined. I think he's reached double figures already this season. He's a very, very good striker for Everton, and he's proven a lot of critics wrong as well. He's a very, very good striker. Not prolific, but when the chances do come, he does seem to put them away, and that's the good thing you can say about Everton. But they're coming up against a really impressive Manchester United side who have kept 4 clean sheets in a row, which is very, very good for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his team. Also, happy birthday to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well today, 47 today. So he'll obviously want a wee birthday present to go to Everton, but he has to erase the memory of the game last season because Everton beat Manchester United by 4-0 last season. So he'll want to erase that from his memories because Manchester United were definitely blown aside last season against Everton. So, and obviously Everton got a 1-1 draw at Old Trafford earlier this season. Really, really hard one to predict, this one. But if Manchester United do want to get that top 4, they do have to start winning more games consistently. And that is one thing you can say. However, I've got a feeling that the Toffees will get a win here. I've got a real funny feeling that Everton will get the win against Manchester United. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to the Toffees here. Just got a feeling Manchester United recent record on the road is not great, but I've just got a feeling Everton will win this one by 2-1. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the 4-0 because Manchester United have got very, very impressive players in their team. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes getting his first goal of the season at the weekend as well. Playing very, very well. Manchester United, they are getting clean sheets as well. Like I've said, 4 clean sheets in a row, but just got a feeling that will end here. Everton have got players that can really hurt Manchester United. Richarlison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Walcott, Bernard, Sigurdsson. Obviously Sigurdsson's our favourite at the moment, but it'll be a very, very interesting game. But I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Everton here. Now, Manchester City against Arsenal, obviously, that would have been played, but obviously, because of the Carabao Cup Final, that is postponed, so it'll be played at another date. Interestingly enough, Man City have won all 5 meetings with Arsenal recently. The last meeting was a 3-1 win, but obviously, I cannot preview that game because obviously it has been postponed because of the Carabao Cup Final. So, good luck to Aston Villa and Manchester City at the weekend. So, I'll see what happens in this one. So, that means there's only one more game to preview, and it is Tottenham Hotspur against Wolverhampton Wanderers. The last 5 between the sides have resulted in 3 wins to Tottenham, 1 draw, and 1 win to Wolves. And in fact, the last meeting at this would be at Wembley, so it's the first meeting of the two at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Wolves won 3-1 at Wembley last season. Tottenham are coming off the back of a 2-1 defeat to Chelsea. Poor performance, really poor performance. How on earth did Lo Celso escape a red card? I mean, if we're talking about VAR again, that's probably the worst decision that they've got wrong ever, I would say, because that was an absolute stamp. He should have gone, and Tottenham, they're really struggling under Jose Mourinho. They are really, really struggling at this moment in time. Yes, you can say injuries have really affected them, but obviously they've got missing Harry Kane, obviously missing Son. Dele Alli was dropped to the bench as well because he wasn't very good against Leipzig. There are big problems for Spurs, and they're coming up against a really rampant, it has to be said, Wolverhampton Wanderers side who took apart Norwich very, very comfortably by 3-0. Diego Jota getting 2 goals, and then Jimenez as well. Who else? Who else scores their goals? Definitely Jimenez and Jota. So it's nice to see that partnership clicking again because that was pivotal to Wolves' performances of last season for sure. Wolves obviously will travel to Espanyol tomorrow to play in the Europa League, and obviously they are winning 4-0 in the first leg there, so you would probably expect Nuno to make a couple of changes. So because of that, I've got a feeling Wolves will go away to Tottenham and get a very valuable win. I'm going to go for a Wolves win to pile the pressure. Well, not pile the pressure, because Jose Mourinho's only been there sort of 3-4 months already. But I do think Wolves will want to win this one. And Wolves have been very, very impressive recently as well. I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win for Wolves at Tottenham. But we shall see what happens for sure. So that is it. That is my Match Week 28 predictions. Done and dusted again. I'll go through my predictions really, really quickly again. Norwich City 0, Leicester City 2. Brighton 2, Crystal Palace 1. Bournemouth 1, Chelsea 2. Newcastle United 1, Burnley 1. West Ham 1, Southampton 2. Watford 1, Liverpool 3. Everton 2, Manchester United 1. And Tottenham 1, Wolves 2. So that is it. That is my Match Week 28. Obviously, like I've said, good luck to Aston Villa. Good luck to Manchester City in the Carabao Cup Final. That will kick off at 4 p.m. As well. So that's live on Sky Sports. But live games this weekend. We've obviously got Norwich City against Leicester City. That's live on Sky Sports on Friday evening. We have the 12:30 game on BT Sport between Brighton and Crystal Palace. The M23 derby as well. And then obviously Sky Sports again. Watford against Liverpool. That'll be a very, very good game for sure. And then live on Super Sunday is Everton against Manchester United. So some good games to look forward to at the weekend, and we shall see what happens. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and if you are new, then please hit that subscribe button. Also hit that notifications bell as well for every upload that comes onto this channel. Smash a like, leave a comment. Also leave your predictions for Match Week 28 as well. So it'll be very, very good as well. But thank you very much for watching. Good luck. Enjoy the football the weekend. Obviously, cup final between Aston Villa and Man City. Yeah, we shall see. Enjoy the football, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.